also talk about, because you have conquered a lot of mountains several times, would you also talk about a really exciting moment that comes? So we would like to know about any scariest incident that might have happened.
Okay, I'll have to think
Yeah.
about the exciting, but the
Okay.
scariest I can give
Yes.
you,
Yes, let's go for it.
which is, and is also again a life lesson from
Okay.
in the scariest one. On Geneva, one time we were climbing one of the smaller climbs called the Aravis, and at the top, as usual, again there's support on the trip. We're having coffee and cake at the top.
Wow, delicious.
That is,
Yeah.
don't go absolutely torching yourself if there's no coffee and cake.
Oh.
There has to be coffee and cake.
There has to be.
And then
Yeah.
I'm attentive to my bike, and we had ridden up in some rain, and I noticed that there was grease on my bicycle rims. So I had baby wipes.
Yes.
So I cleaned my bicycle rims with baby wipes. Now I can tell you now, after this lesson, and you'll know in a moment why. Never clean your bicycle rims with basic baby wipes. They're soapy.
Yeah.
So I'm descending then off that mountain, and I start to use my brakes to control the bike. There's nothing.
There's no friction. Oh,
And
no.
these mountains, they are fast and twisty.
My goodness.
So the scary thing there was that I knew that if I didn't take a decision very soon, I would be going so fast that it would be terrible.
Yeah.
So I had to just look for the nearest hedge and just go right off the road into it.
To hedge. Oh my goodness. Even that was the scariest one to do.
Yeah.
Just to end up and view up into a hedge like that. Decision
soft
is not
landing.
easy.
I broke a 600 euro wheel
Oh no.
and, had one or two bruises, and the support vehicle just picks me up, puts me in the back.
Yeah.
And then that evening, I borrowed a wheel. I rode the next day.
Next time.
But that was scary. And I can tell you that evening also, I threw away the baby wipes. I got a different kind of wipe, which is, dissolved grease.
Okay.
And I think I cleaned those rims 10 times.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This was so scary.
I was lucky.
Because those hills are so steep. I mean, every kind of step can lead you to some sort of a danger. So that was a very good lesson. Yeah.
Yeah, you can be so comfortable and complacent and then realize, wait a minute,
Yeah.
we're not in Ireland. Everything is bigger and faster and harder.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
For excitement, if you had a good climb and having a nice descent where you feel in control and where the visibility is good, I like that kind of excitement.
Okay.
Rather than descending into a cloud and not being able to see. Where on one occasion I had this, and I had to switch on my Garmin map. So it was almost like a radar to see where's the next corner,
Yeah.
because you could not see 50 meters.
No.
And
And
I
that
used
was
up all of my
another-
brakes on the way down.
Yeah, and that was another kind of alertness that you have to bring to your mind to keep looking for that corner on Garmin
Oh yeah,
to find that spot where you can
because
pull
these
yourself
mountains are so
into-
big, you just can't have a road that goes straight up.
Yeah.
They have to come down and curve a
Different
corner.
curves,
They have to weave
corners.
the way down. There will always be corners.
Right. Yeah. Were there any injuries from that?
For me? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It was a safe. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And another occasion, descending with ice and snow on the road from the Galibier.
Right.
But luckily, again, you prepare for these trips. I had studied the long-range weather forecasts and realized that this was going to be a cold one. Even though it's June, at that altitude, you can get freezing temperatures. So I packed winter clothing. So you do your homework. So on the descent, I'm wearing everything.
Right.
Thick gloves, everything.
Right.
So all I had to do is control the bike.
Yeah.
But I was a little bit uncomfortable. But then if you're not uncomfortable, you don't understand the problem. That is, the people that I would stay away from are people who tell me that they are fantastic, skilled descenders. And I would just say, okay, have a nice day.
Yeah.
Because you need to be nervous a little bit.
Right.
You don't want to panic. You do need to be nervous. It's important.
Yeah, it's important. A bit of nervousness, a little bit of anxiety, or a little bit of stress is, I think, important in certain scenarios.
Concentrates you.
Concentrates, yeah. Helps with concentration. And I think that survival of the fittest skill set arises, or maybe that mode activates, in a sense, probably. that
A
I
little
gotta
bit
save
of
myself from
wisdom as well.
wisdom as well. True,
But
true.
yeah,
Wisdom.
wisdom.
Yeah. Prior experience.
Certainly,
Certainly.
you know, you don't want to be stupid. But yeah, but it was a lesson. So you make a note of these things mentally, and
Yeah.
also you have a big packing list. And every year, anything I forget or anything I don't need, I update.
Yeah. And Seamus, you have seen a lot of transition in Ireland, how Ireland has changed in the last 40, 50 years. Can we talk about that from your own experience of when you were growing up, when you were in your teen, and Ireland now? Um, would you be able to explain that journey, whole journey,
Yeah.
and all the different memories associated to every different stage or every year or a decade?
Well, I can't go
Yeah.
to a point by point, but I
Sure.
would begin by saying when I arrived here today, I haven't ever been in this neighbourhood before.
All right.
It's like another city to me.
Yes, over here,
And
absolutely.
I'm born in Dublin.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can tell you the last time I would have been in this neighbourhood, my father used to take us for drives in his car on a Sunday morning through this neighbourhood. But when it was all warehouses, when it was in the original condition before all of these modernity came, he probably never saw this himself because we just, people who live in Dublin, we wouldn't come here unless we had a reason to. And it's amazing, it's like going to a completely different city when you come into this neighbourhood.
Definitely.
For me, it is.
Sure.
But I will give you one anecdote, which is that in our folklore, you might remember there's one building now which is a very swanky apartment block called the gasometer.
The gas? Sorry.
Gasometer, and it's
Gasometer.
built in the shell of what was originally the storage tank for gas, which was being manufactured for use by the people who lived in Dublin.
Okay.
They used to make gas here,
Okay.
and you could smell it.
Okay.
There was this particular smell from the production of gas,
Right.
and in our folklore, it was considered that if you had a throat infection, breathing that gas, the actual smell of it, was good for you. So if we had a cold, my father brought us down here. He opened the windows, and we breathed in
The gas there.
yeah.
Okay.
Probably untrue, but
Yeah.
people thought it was healthy. It was kind of a
Okay.
tarry smell.
Oh.
But, it was all cobblestones and old warehouses and dereliction here. But the thing is that also when I got my first job, I can tell you the pay for that first job, the average person's pay was in 1978, 1979. When you began work, this was about €50 a week.
Okay.
And even into the 1980s, average people didn't travel very much, or they only went to cheap destinations because it wasn't affordable. And now that's all changed.
Okay.
We can go anywhere, and as you know, I have been to all kinds of places around the world. But so the differences in the prosperity that the average person has in Ireland now compared to 1970, 1980, the self-confidence of Ireland, how Ireland, until then, most people with any ability or talent to succeed, they left the country. They went to the UK, they went to America. And now lots of talented people want to come to Ireland.
Yeah.
Consider it cool.
Right.
Which is, for me, that's quite a big change.
Definitely. Yeah. Now, so many opportunities we have on this land, and a lot of immigration, seeing people from everywhere, and taking on those opportunities and succeeding. It's incredible.
Well, we're an island country, and I think when we were less prosperous and couldn't travel around the world, the only experience we had of foreigners was when they came here to Ireland.
Okay.
And maybe we still have the tradition of being curious about the foreigners and being interested
Right.
in the people who come into Ireland, who they are and where they come from and what their life is like.
Yeah.
Even though now I could pretty much go anywhere I want in the world if I wanted to. But that said, it wouldn't be the same because I'd be going to a tourist resort. The big change is the prosperity, what we can afford, what we can have, and of course, also all of these technologies, some of which nobody imagined. Cell phones, in the 1980s, I was using call boxes. I mean, who uses those anymore?
Yeah.
And then GPS. I can even remember something I got wrong was when I was working, somebody was studying in university and said that they were doing a project about sending television signals over an internet network. And they said, that'll never catch on. Who wants to do that?
Yeah. Right, right. And it's a reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. I didn't see the potential. So that's a lesson sometimes that we don't always see at the very beginning something that is going to be so influential. On the other hand, a friend of mine at who was working at a university, he showed me the very first internet browser. And he said, that is going to be something. I just saw that.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I didn't buy shares.
Yeah.
I could have been very rich.
Yeah, at that time, buying, yeah.
But yeah, it is interesting when you, or as old as me, when you can look back and say, well, actually, I saw that at the beginning and I didn't realize what it's going to be, or we had this problem many years ago, and wow, isn't it amazing? Like when I started cycling, I was using paper maps.
Yeah.
They're still very interesting because compared to the digital maps, I would be looking at little drawings of castles or whatever, say, I'm going to go there because that looks interesting. And now, of course, with Google Maps and with other GPS systems, it's easier.
Yeah.
But you don't have the same contact with the map itself. But on the other hand, it's great. I can immediately know how long it's going to take me to get somewhere. I can program myself. It'll tell you about traffic and all of that. Yeah. So I'm not saying it's a bad change, but these are changes I've observed. But Dublin itself, the population of Dublin, the diversity of the population, the different cultures, the different kind of foods that we can have, even towns which I knew to be villages, which are now quite nearly cities. For example, I have family in Balbriggan, and Balbriggan is like a small city now. So these are changes. And then sometimes I just get lost in Dublin because they've moved the roads, or I might have known a particular farm building as a landmark for my junction. Yeah. And now there is a warehouse, or there's
something new,
an apartment block.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Ireland has progressed so fast, and we are so prosperous. We are a land of opportunities. And Ireland is my second home now. I go back to India. I go back anywhere. I'm like, I have to go home now. And home for me is Ireland.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. But I can tell you the real Ireland, well, we call it the real Ireland, but I don't want to say that we have a fake Ireland. Okay. I was there yesterday. I went out into the Wicklow Mountains on a big long ride.
Yes. Tell us about your ride yesterday.
This is my preparation for the Geneva-Nice ride. Okay. And what you do is you just have to go out and spend a long time doing something different. Get used to it. Yeah. So I went out early. I checked the temperature. I had the correct clothing. I went up Killickey, which is south of Dublin. First climb, 3 degrees temperature, but I was perfectly comfortable. Very well prepared and calibrated. Okay. And then the wind wasn't a problem at all. Over to Solligap, down into Lara, coffee in Lara. Okay. Then south of there over the Shea Elliott climb. We call it the Shea Elliott climb because it's named after our first most successful bicycle racer from the 1960s, named Shea Elliott.
Okay, Shea Elliott, right. Yeah. And did we do it? Did we go to Shea Elliott ever? Right. Have you been to Shea Elliott? Maybe.
No.
No, we haven't. I haven't done it. No. Okay.
We can do it sometime.
We can
It's a very scenic area. Okay. So from there over Schliebman, past Ockavana, where I used to go hosteling, and then as I was turning towards home, I was at 75 kilometers home. The total ride was about 165. Right. I'm stopped in Dunard. Now Dunard is very well off the beaten track. It's a small village, and usually there's just a grocery store, not a lot of variety in it. And we said, I think I'll just go into the town a little bit and look around just in case something new has happened. Mm-hmm. There was a sign. Yeah. The community centre had opened a part-time coffee shop, mainly to help locals who were isolated working in the farms meet up with each other. And I went in there, and they were open, and of course they wanted me to have the full Irish breakfast. Yeah. And I had to say to them, oh no, this is not possible. I won't be able to ride home. So I negotiated a smaller breakfast. Now this is about 12:30 in the afternoon.
Okay.
They didn't have a lot of variety, but there was a lot of goodwill.
Mm.
This was nice.
Okay.
And this is something we still have. And the village itself, if you ever visit it, looks the same probably as it did 100 years ago.
Right.
So,
And even like people are, I have seen that whenever I go to the village side or countryside and I have a meal in a restaurant or a hotel, everyone is so happy and very hospitality is more better and more warm than in comparison to the city. I have experienced that. Yeah.
well, they
I
could be
think
family operated. This
families
cafe
are.
was run by
Yeah.
volunteers.
Okay. Right.
And again, I think the food wasn't the point. It was
Okay.
the point of the place was that people could go in there and they might happily and accidentally bump into their neighbours because a lot of them are farmers and the farms could be kilometres apart.
I see.
So
Yeah.
they're doing a social good thing there. Maybe also because they had a proper kitchen, which was approved by the health authorities. I would guess they were probably also making meals which could be either taken away by people who weren't able to cook for themselves anymore, or they might even have a Meals on Wheels service, quite typical, which would be delivered. I would guess that was also part of what was happening there.
Right.
So, you're getting in touch with raw volunteering in the community by the members of the community.
Okay.
So it's nice that Ireland still has this mixture of the high tech, the international hotels, the international bars like we are sitting in right now, this Blue Dog, all of the different kinds of food.
Yeah.
But if you want to go back in time 100 years, not so much socially, but just in terms of culturally, it's still there.
Yeah. Right. Incredible.
And, the manners are still there. And there's many other things like
Right. And Seamus, you have been to several mountains and you've climbed several mountains and you have been to Mount Blanc and a couple of other mountains from two different